Happy Wednesday, everyone. We got some gymnastics coming up for you guys today. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a really good time. So, before we get to the work set, let's talk about our warm-up where, the whole day is basically our work set. So, I want you guys to treat all of these as individual little work sets to kind of build that strength in those gymnastic shapes. So what we got? We got plank knee to nose for 10 to 20 alternating reps, forearm side plank for 15 to 30 seconds aside, arch up for 20 seconds, so that's dynamic, into an arch hold for 10 seconds. So we're trying to go into that last rep from our arch up sequence right into a hold. Then we're going to roll onto our back. We're going to work on a tuck hollow with extension for 20 seconds of just dynamic movement of moving those legs in and out, stretching out those hamstrings while working on that good compression. 2 to 3 rounds of that, you're going to get yourself generating some good heat on the inside of the body. Then we're going to move down to this next phase, which is going to continue. We're going to start focusing a little bit on the shoulders and getting some more heat in that as we work on some handstand work. So we're going to work on 3 to 5 rounds of a floor pike hold for 15 to 30 seconds, quad plank to toe touch for 20 seconds, and I'll walk you through that again. Laying L sit for 15 to 30 seconds, finishing off with some dynamic dead bugs at 10 reps, total count, 1 to 2 second holds on the extension side of things. So we'll hit that up 3 to 5 rounds. We'll then move into our work set. Our work set is going to be 10 minutes in total, and what we have for you guys is minute number 1. You will choose one of 2 things. You'll do the dumbbell pullover for 10 to 20 reps, or within 30 and 45 seconds of work. Or we'll do bent row with the dumbbell, 5 to 10 reps per side. Again, picking a load that allows you to move well and have some fun with that bent row. So again, choosing which one you want to work on. If you want to alternate the two in between the work sets, I'm fine with that. So you'll get a nice chunk of work as you get going, but choose the one you want to focus on the most and have some fun with that. Minute number 2, though, you're going to accumulate time in your L sit, and you have a whole minute to do and take this down any way you would like. So you have 5 rounds of this, so I want you to be smart about this in terms of how long you're trying to accumulate chunks. A minute is a long time to work on an L sit, so I want you to give yourself rest. So maybe you choose to work on 30 seconds of that time or that minute in the L sit, or accumulate 5-second chunks every so many seconds. But play around, give yourself a chance to experiment with the L sit, work with it, and or our L sit option. But you have a minute to play and work on that skill. And then you'll do it again all the way through, working through those 2 minutes for 10 minutes in total work. So it's going to be a good day. We'll have some fun, nice little chance to work some pulls and some stability. But first things first, let's get you warmed up, ready to go. Let's get those feet under those hips. Let's take the arms up, big and tall up overhead. We're going to shrug those shoulders, keeping the arms straight. Bring them down, scratch the back and reach through the elbow. We're going to come back up, big stretch. Scratch your back and reach through the elbow. Come back up, big stretch. We're going to get another little shrug in there. Come down with those shoulders and forward fold. So you can touch those toes, walk up those shins. We'll come down, frame a foot, step back into your lizard. Setting up that position good and strong. We'll take that inside hand up, rotating that forearm down. We'll come back up, bending at the elbow. We'll reach straight ahead. Pull that arm back, straight ahead. Pull back, straight ahead, and pull back. Big reach. Rotate that arm down. Come back up. Plant that hand and step back into your down dog. Gripping the floor, let's set those shoulders, walk those heels out. Nice and gentle, nice and steady. We'll come back into our plank, step the other foot up. Nice and square in those hips, strong legs. We'll take the inside hand up, rotate forearm to the floor. We'll come back up. And rotate, and back up, and rotate, and back up, and plant that hand. Step her back, nice and strong through that nice down dog. Walk those heels back and forth we go into our plank, and tiptoe those feet up. Roll yourself up, big tall stretch. Clasp those fingers, press up and reach. And reach. Good. Come back down. Let's get you fired up and ready to go. So, what we got going on today for you guys, we're gonna get some upper body and some core work set up, ready for action. But before that, if you need any more kind of gentle kind of warm up, please do so, take the time. Some wrist work, some cat-cows, some thread the needles. Not a bad idea to start your day off with. But I'm gonna jump right into that first phase of warm up and get you guys ready to go. So pause the video, take it down, come back and join me. All right, our first movement today is our plank knee to nose. So we're gonna work on setting that good plank, that activation through the shoulders, and working on that compression. So we're gonna get our hands underneath of the shoulders, just outside in terms of width. We're gonna pull the ribs in, pressing the shoulders up to the sky. We're gonna maintain this position. So we're gonna try and pull that knee up to the nose, reaching my head down towards my knee as I reach my knee up to my nose. So I can round out a little bit more through the upper back a bit, but we still want to try and keep those hips low. So we're not trying to lift the hips up into a down dog position. We're trying to bring that knee straight up as we round and reach, and then extend back into that plank. So take your time with those, really work that compression, and check in on your shoulders to make sure we have that good active protraction, that pressure up towards the ceiling for each rep. After that, we're gonna get into our side plank, but our forearm side plank. So I'm gonna lay on my side, getting myself set up, and we have two options for this. Now, keeping the elbow stacked under the shoulder, we wanna make sure that we're actively pressing through that shoulder and we're not slumping down into the neck. So we're pushing through that shoulder, through that arm, keeping it stacked. I can keep my legs straight as I squeeze up. I can keep the arm up to the side, across the chest, wherever I feel most comfortable. We want to focus our attention to this side as we push through that arm. The other way we can do this, we can bend the knees, again squeezing and lifting up. So we're engaging through that side body. The arm again can come to the side, laying on the side of the body across the chest. We're really focusing on that shoulder so we're not slumping down and losing our neck, but pushing actively through the arm the entire time. Now from here, we're gonna lay onto our stomach. We're gonna work that opposite kind of activation. We're doing a lot of compression today, and this is gonna be a nice kind of option to work on that extension and work on the back half of the body. So I'm gonna lay on my stomach, toes together, arms are extended out to the front. My eyes are down, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna inhale, squeezing my toes, lengthening my body, and then coming down. And I'm working on this nice dynamic extension. So I'm trying to lengthen and straighten, come down. Lengthen and straighten, come down. And then when I'm done my 20 seconds of dynamic work, I'm gonna come up and hold for 10 seconds in that nice extended position. Now if you're looking at me going, Dave, I can't quite do the double, that's fine. You can work on the same style of movement, but just right hand, left foot, left hand, right foot, and just switching back and forth. And then when we get to the hold, you can do 5 seconds and 5 seconds as you're working through those holds. So you're gonna give yourself a chance to kind of stabilize with that unilateral work. You can press down with the opposite hand, opposite foot that aren't lifting, and that can help stabilize your body really, really well. After that arch hold, we're gonna flip onto our back, and we're gonna work a little bit more compression. We're gonna get ourselves set up, but I always like to give myself a nice long stretch before I do this. I'm gonna bring my hands down, walk my feet up. I'm gonna pull my ribs in, squeeze my knees and toes together into my chest, and then I'm gonna bring the knees and shoulders together into that toe hollow. From here, I'm gonna maintain this tension and slowly extend my legs as best I can. And then I'm gonna pull my heels to my glutes. And I'm gonna extend and pull my heel to my glutes. And just keep working through that compression, through the knees, the shoulders trying to join. But I'm really pulling my ribs and hips and trying to get that nice, really solid hollow. The legs, again, as we extend, are gonna wanna pull those knees away from the shoulders, depending on how tight your hamstrings are. So we really have to fight for that compression to the best we can. As a quick recap, we have a plank knee to nose for 10 to 20 alternating reps, depending on what you have kind of capacity for there. You have a nice span of reps. Forearm side plank for 15 to 30 seconds per side. Arch up for 20 seconds dynamic, and then an arch hold for 10 seconds. Then we're going to finish off that round on our backs with a tuck hollow with extension for 20 seconds of dynamic movement through the legs with that static hold through the core. 2 to 3 rounds of that. Pause the video, take that down. You're going to generate a lot of good core heat and a lot of inner body heat coming through this work set. So explore those movements, get those shoulders ready, because we're going to need them for the next phase. All right, you guys, from here, what we're going to take on, we're going to work on a little bit of upper body work. We're going to be needing our dumbbells that we're going to use for our L-sit later on, or our pullover. So just have them kind of strategically set up like so. But first things first, we're going to work on our floor pike hold. So my floor pike hold, I'm going to get myself set up in my tabletop. I'm going to grip the floor with my hands, pressing through my shoulders. I'm going to pull my ribs in so I get that little tuck. And from here, I'm going to walk my knees together. I'm going to curl my toes under, and I'm going to keep my shoulders over my hands as I push my legs straight into that nice pike hold. So I'm holding this floor pike hold. I can tiptoe my feet a little bit closer if I like, but I'm working on actively pressing through the shoulders, pulling the ribs in, pressing through the shoulders, and really pulling in that compression. We have a 15 to 30 second time span on this, so if you feel yourself disengage through the shoulder, disengage through the midsection, come out of it, rest a bit, bank some more time if you like, or just call it a day at that. Because we want to think about banking active time, so we get used to that activeness in that handstand that we're trying to build that skill and kind of capacity for. After that though, you're going to move into kind of a fun little core exercise. We're going to come back into our tabletop, except we're going to have space between the knees, and we're going to have that nice quad plank position. So I pull my ribs in, press my shoulders up. I'm going to lift my knees about an inch off the floor, and then from here, I'm going to try and stay in this tabletop position, and I'm going to shift back, touch my toe, shift back, touch my toe, shift straight back, touch my toe. So it's almost like I'm trying to sit on my heels, but I'm not actually sitting on my heels. So I'm just shooting my hips towards my heels, not up towards a down dog position. So we're trying to stay nice and low in that quad plank to toe touch. And you're just gonna alternate back and forth for 20 seconds, not necessarily worrying about your reps, but working on maintaining that quad plank in the forward position, keeping the hips low, coming back into that quad plank for a second, keeping the hips low, and then moving forward, back and forth into that position. So take your time, play with that. Again, it's not about max reps. If you can't touch your toe, that's fine. I always just shoot for my ankle. That's kind of where I shoot for when I do those ones. So just shoot for your ankle or wherever you can touch with that range. After that, we get to lay down, and we're going to use those dumbbells, or we're going to use something in our house that we can anchor ourselves with. So I'm going to lay down so that my arms are straight, and I can kind of get a light grip or press into the dumbbell. I'm not trying to rip the dumbbells off the floor, but I am pressing into them so I can feel this engagement through my lat, my armpit, my side body. So almost like we're hanging. From here, I'm going to keep that pressure. I'm going to walk the feet up flat, pull my ribs in, so I have that contact with the floor, still pressing gently into the dumbbells. Then I pull my knees into that tuck, and then I'm going to extend my legs to that L position. Still pulling my ribs in, still pressing into the dumbbells so I feel that engagement, and I'm just holding this nice position for 15 to 30 seconds. Really working on the shoulder engagement for that work set and keeping the ribs pulled in. Pretending that we're hanging from a bar. We're trying to create that perfect L shape that we would use in an L hang or an L sit. So that's what we're trying to create in that floor position, using the floor as assistance. After that, what you're going to move into is your dead bug. And you can keep that same position that you were just at. So just making sure that you know where your dumbbells are. You're going to bring your hands up, You're gonna pull your ribs in so your feet are nice and level with your knees. Your low back is in contact with the floor. And then I'm gonna extend my right arm, left leg, keeping that nice extension, coming back in, and keeping that nice solid contact with the low back into the floor. And we're gonna give ourselves a little pause of 1 to 2 seconds on either end of the dead bug, just so we don't turn into this kind of walking movement back and forth. We show control, we come back to center, show control, extend, show control, back to center, show control. And that'll help your coordination with the movement of working with your right hand, left foot, and then that's switching to the other side. So don't rush through these, take your time, work through this. The work set's only 10 minutes, so it's not gonna be too long, but we wanna take a moment just to work on that coordination aspect. Quick little recap, we have a floor pike hold for 15 to 30 seconds, into your quad plank to toe touch for 20 seconds, dynamic, laying L sit 15 to 30 seconds, into 10 alternating dead bugs for 1 to 2 second holds on either end of the movement. You're gonna hit that up 3 to 5 rounds, and if you'd like to, and you know what you're gonna be doing for your work set, you can start adding in either some pullovers or some bent rows, just to start warming up that movement, figuring out the weight that you're gonna use in the work set. So pause the video, take that down, get yourself primed and ready. We're gonna go over the movements in the work set and turn you loose. All right, so our work set today, we're gonna work on the minute for 10 minutes. Minute number 1, you're gonna take down 10 to 20 pullovers, depending on what you got time for. So we wanna think about working for anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds. Loading for that is gonna really depend on your comfort level with the pullover. Or you're gonna do 5 to 10 bent rows per side. So you're gonna work on that nice position, working on that bent row, 5 to 10 reps per side. Depending on what kind of loading you have, you can add in a tempo in that negative if you'd like. If you have a light dumbbell at home and you wanna make it feel harder, you can work on a 3-second negative. But you're gonna pick one of those two, or like I offered earlier, if you'd like to alternate on minute 1. So round 1, do pullovers, round 2, bent rows, back and forth. You're more than welcome to do that. Make this yours. So let's talk about the pullover first. So I have a dumbbell here on the floor that I use for my laying L sit. I'm gonna get myself laying on the floor like I'm gonna do a bridge, feet just outside the shoulders, and I'm gonna get set in this position. From here, what I'm gonna do is get my dumbbell up and over my body, so my elbows are soft. I'm pressing up towards the ceiling. I'm gonna pull my ribs in so I feel that good contact. And then from here, I'm gonna lower the dumbbell down to the floor until it touches. And then I'm gonna press up over my body position. So the entire arm moves. The elbows are soft, but I'm not bending at the elbow. So it's not this kind of a movement. It's not a tricep extension, all right? It is a full arm press back. So we're pressing into the dumbbell, the arms move, we come back up. So we have that for 10 to 20 reps. Remembering that this is not necessarily a super fast movement. So the down is gonna be a little slower. We're gonna press up a little faster if you'd like as well. Now the bent row today, normally I kind of demonstrate with a bench. Today I'm going to show you an option if you want to play around without a bench. So I have my single dumbbell. There's 2 variations we can play with. One, my feet are going to go into my hip width stance. I'm going to stand like I'm going to do a deadlift. I'm going to pull my hips back. This hand is going to be kind of out free for some stability. And I'm going to pull that dumbbell into my rib and then come back down to neutral. Into rib, neutral. Or I can stand in a staggered stance like I'm going to do my lunge. The foot that's in front, this hand is going to come on my thigh. I'm going to pull my hip back, softening my knee so I get this nice deadlift back position. The dumbbell is directly under my shoulder, and I'm going to pull in and back into my little rib and hip and extend straight down. In and back, straight down. In and back, straight down. And then I'll stand tall. Switch sides, set that up again, and take it down the opposite side. So the only thing we want to think about for these bent rows is that we want to focus on that engagement through the upper back and that pull, and not using a lot of momentum in terms of kind of starting the lawnmower. We're not trying to rip the dumbbell. It's pretty controlled, pretty steady. We're trying to work on that upper back strength, focusing on that engagement through the shoulder. Now, afterwards, we're going to use these dumbbells or whatever we have for our L-sit options. So for our L-sit options, I'm going to go through the options for the L-sit and then our variations for you guys. So with this work set, my dumbbells, if I'm going to do one of these L-sit variations, are going to be right beside my hips so that when I extend my arms stay close to my hips and body. So my toes point straight ahead. I'm going to grip the dumbbell and I'm going to actively press into the Nike swoosh of the hand. So that thumb and index finger kind of pit, I'm going to press into that area of the hand so that you're not feeling it in the pinky or the palm. So we want to play around with that a little bit and focus our attention there. Now, I'm going to get myself set up. Variation number 1, my shoulders are backing down. I push through those arms. I press those shoulders down towards the floor, and I sit in that support position. So that's number 1. Pressing my hips up off the floor, straight arms, shoulders away from the ears. Variation number 2 stems from that support. So we start with the support, we set, we push, and then we lift the leg. And then if we need to, we can switch. But if you feel those shoulders starting to sink towards the ears, it's time to rest and then pop back up again if you'd like. Now variation number 3, a little bit more challenging. We pull it all together and we get that full L-sit. So we press to our support. I'm pushing into the dumbbells. I'm squeezing my toes together and I get that nice inward lift of everything. So I'm pulling my ribs in, I'm lifting and squeezing my toes together. My quads are going to get a little on fire, but I'm going to lift both feet off the floor, keeping those arms in line with my hips and keeping that shoulder away from my ear. So those are 3 different variations of L-sit that you can work towards. If you're not looking at that, or if you'd like to build some stuff, you can alternate with boat pose. So boat pose is another variation that we like to use. What you're going to do is you're going to get your fingers down by your knees. We're going to pull our feet up flat. We're going to sit nice and tall. Kind of resembles the starting position of our Russian twist. And we can either do one of 2 things. We can work on squeezing the toes and pulling the knees in with the toes on the floor. Or we can lift the leg and we can work on that single leg activation. Or we can work on both legs with a foot assist or a hand assist or no hand assist. So the kicker here is that we want to make sure that our back is nice and straight, building our engagement through that. We don't want to be slouching or rounding out when we do those positions. So sitting tall, trying to bring our chest and thighs together as we work on that compression through the hip and the quad and that upper body. So it's very much so a full body kind of exercise, working on that compression that we again worked on in our tuck hollow when we were working on warming up today. So play around with this, you guys. If you want to do like a round of supports, round of boat pose, round of supports, boat pose, you can play around with this, make this yours, just like the option for the pullover and the bent row. I want you to make this and allow yourself to challenge and further your abilities for what you need to take down for you today. So enjoy this one, you guys. It's gonna be tough, it's gonna be fun, but it will be, like I say, a tough little challenge. Gymnastics work sets always are. But as always, you guys, let me know how this goes. I'm always interested to hear what you chose to do, how you took it down, how much time you built in that L-sit or boat pose. But let me know. Work for quality, have a ton of fun, work on that core work, that strong engagement, and we'll see you tomorrow for a nice little cardio experience. Bye, you guys.